So given the fact that the city of Fitchburg sort of resides in that rural, suburban, urban area, we could respond to anything on any given day. This was an opportunity for us to practice some of those things that we may see in our agricultural community. One of the things that we've seen in our area, not with great frequency, but on occasion, is the grain bin rescue. And what that does is it creates a number of different concerns for us, because there are hazards associated with that environment, especially in an encapsulating environment as our rescuers commit to the victim. What this allowed us to do is practice some techniques that allow us to use some degree of scene safety. And then it also allowed us to work with some newer equipment that we were able to bring on board.
We're State Line Farm Rescue. It's a group of firefighters and EMS and flight medics. We, nurses I should say, we all seen the need for a training program in the agricultural field. Everybody trains in car extrication and live burns and stuff, but in agriculture we don't see a lot of training for tractor rollover, grain bin entrapment as we did today, PTO entanglements, auger entrapment. The prop that we have behind us is to simulate a live entrapment. The students actually have an opportunity to be drawn in and have an opportunity to be live. The rescuers and the students have an opportunity to work with a live victim instead of a mannequin. This simulator has been approved by OSHA, and it's also we have grain bin cuts that we're doing on the backside, and an auger entrapment also. So we try to incorporate everything that's going on at once.
What you'll see in some of the footage that was captured is the fact that there are these walls, these panels that allow us to basically put something around our patient to prevent the grain from encapsulating them, and then to remove that grain so that we can bring them out. The issue that we know that we see in these types of rescues is you just can't pull the person out. The additional weight that's associated with the grain around the victim and then the victim themselves makes it nearly impossible. And if you just start pulling on the patient, that actually provides a situation where we may inflict more harm than good.
You know, 90% of these victims, I mean, obviously are going to be workers on a grain elevator or a farmstead. You know, there's very few that are kids that are in there just playing, but the point of that is that what they're going through is they're going through difficulty of breathing. They're going through a very confining area where they cannot move, they can't move their feet, they can't move their hands. So it's difficult to breathe, and that's what we want to relay to our firefighters, should I say.
So I was the lucky victim, so we could use during training, and he started the grain bin auger on it, and I just slowly sank like quicksand. At first it wasn't a big deal, but then as you get lower and lower, the pressure of all the grain, in this case corn, started pressing on my legs, pressing on as it kept going up. And then once it stopped at my chest level, every time I breathed, the corn even compressed more when I exhaled, and then it was harder to inhale. So I was only in there, 10 minutes maybe? But imagine someone being there closer to 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 3 hours. It can be a very, very dire situation.
And that's what it does. It humbles our firefighters, and it brings it to full perspective of what's going on. I'd love to bring this to the farmsteads and our farmers so that work in grain every day, so they get a realism of what it's like. But there's estimated with that tank that we have in there about 75 pounds per square foot on their bodies.
So all of these techniques brought together will allow us to consider the overall necessity of not only the equipment that we have, but the techniques that were learned in the classroom and hands-on today. This training was generously provided by a grant through Landmark. They see the need for emergency preparedness in the agricultural community, and we were able to reach out to them, and they were able to support us in making sure that we do have that training and that preparation. We are ready for the responses that we know will exist in our farming and agricultural community.
Landmark Services Cooperative has a relationship, obviously, with the entire Madison area, and so our goal is to introduce them to the risks and dangers around grain, agronomy, feed, and so on. That's what our main business is. We've gone ahead and provided this training for so many of their firefighters that are both seasoned and then those coming on board understand the variety of hazards and how to respond in case there's grain entrapments and so on. Because of our customers, our neighbors, friends and family, the fact that so many of us are in this line of work and that it could happen at any time, hope is not a strategy for success. So by going education and training, our goal is to make responders capable of helping us when the unfortunate happens.
Whenever we talk about training, we're talking about sets and reps. So trying to do things the way that we will see them on the emergency scene. The more closely we can duplicate that, the better off we are, because we can anticipate what our environment is going to look like. We can take away some of the concerns as far as the variables that exist on these emergency scenes. Not so much take them away, but prepare for them. That's the essential part of doing hands-on training. It allows you to put your hands on the equipment that you will use. It gives you an idea of what that actually feels like, and also provides us with a better appreciation for some of the pitfalls along the way associated with this rescue.
It will definitely help in any situation, not just in grain bin situations, but obviously in T-building situations. We're working with each other, we're utilizing equipment that we also use on car crashes, extrications. And yeah, we have rural in Fitchburg, we also have city, we have urban, and it really helps us to be well-rounded in being able to cut a garage door or cut a car or cut a silo, a grain bin.
Yeah, they find it to be very invaluable because oftentimes we roll down the roads and look at these different grain bins and other structures and not realizing what would happen if we got to respond and how would we safely respond. So they are more than willing to share how valuable it's been and informative, and they truly feel that they are ready to, if need be, take some actions to safely extricate and take other actions to help.
Training is what it is, and every level of training has its benefit, from the book learning to the classroom, the didactic to the actual hands-on element. The benefit you have with something where you get the crews involved on a hands-on level, we have their attention, we have the excitement, they have the ability to feel a little bit more at ease with the skill set that they have learned, and they're able to minimize some of the questions that exist when they just learn something in a classroom. You can talk about something all day, you can cover it in a classroom through a lecture, and you can assume that you're ready, but until you actually apply those skills, you will truly never know. So the benefit here is not only do they get to hear it, they get to see it, they get to watch it being performed and delivered from the instructors, and then they get to do it. It's that sort of solidifies and reinforces the skill set. So then they know that they have that ability, and the things that they learned have some degree of retention. So we're pretty fortunate to have that. And then as far as passing it along, anytime that you are able to train something or someone on any skill set, the hope is that they don't just keep it to themselves. They pass that along to those around them, not only those who have come before them, but to the generations that will come after them. When we are able to share that knowledge, that's when we have a continuity of operation. That's when we sustain the overall effort. that's perfect example of what hands-on training does. Sort of the trainer concept as far as getting the information out there, receiving the information, and then ultimately sharing the information.
Yeah, I am so grateful, and we are so blessed to have men and women that are willing to take on this role and respond when we need the help. And Landmark Services Cooperative again wants to be a shining star in the area of safety for obviously all of its workers, and then of course to help in the community.
And I don't even think of it as a job. I think it's a complete honor to have the opportunity to work with a great fire department as this. And I think the community should recognize this fire department for taking this training and taking their Saturday and doing this. Sheboygan Falls had a rescue about 2 weeks ago of 3 people stuck in a grain facility. And they said, had it not been for our training and our rescue tube, that would not have been a successful rescue. That's why we do this.
One, two, three. The only thing that's open right now